And we are live from Jerusalem, coming with Pastor Chad to you for our special holiday broadcast and service for the Shavuot feast. Some of you may know that as Pentecost, but it's really weeks. Shavuot, that's the right name, right?
That's right.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. It's a great celebration time coming up this week.
It
is. A lot
is.
of celebration, and seems like we are in this cycle of celebrating all the time now.
Well, we had a big
we have
week.
a little peace.
Yeah, well, we had a big week this week. It was unusual how many things we were participating in this week.
Yeah. It was chaotic on Jerusalem Day.
Yep.
And were you trying to drive that evening?
I
from the
luckily,
discipleship?
no. What happened was I was going to minister in Herzliya. We had a leadership training day on Friday, and then I ministered at the King of Kings Herzliya location on Saturday. So I had to leave Thursday afternoon to get there and get ready. So luckily, I left the city at the same time they put up the barricades and started shutting it down.
Yeah. So great time to come to Jerusalem if you want to walk. No car driving on those days.
No cars driving on those days.
At least in the city center. I think the outskirts are okay, but city center, yeah. Ascension Day also this past week.
5 days ago.
Yeah. So how was that celebration?
Well, it was great for us. Of course, we were really together. Our staff was all together on that day, and we were at discipleship that night. We actually mentioned it, I think, for our discipleship classes. And for those of you that may have joined us online, you might have even heard us mention it on the camera.
Yeah. And, that brings us to this week. Thursday evening, we start Shavuot.
Shavuot, Feast of Weeks.
Huge.
Right. Well, in Hebrew, Shavuot is 1 week.
Yeah.
And though we have to pluralize it, and we take it from Shavuot to Shavuot. And that makes it plural, and the Bible tells us in Leviticus 23 that we count off 7 full weeks, and then the next day, which is day 50, is the holiday itself, and that's where, in the Greek form, you're going to get Penti. Penti from the 5 of the commanded day of 50. And that's where you get the word and the phrase for Pentecost.
Yeah, funny thing, I was at the Ministry of Interior, and the lady behind the counter there was like, "You're Pentecostal," talking to me. Like, what does that even mean? And I told her that, have you ever heard of Shavuot? That's where it comes from, Shavuot.
Good.
And so we are the Shavuotonists.
Yeah, we're the Shavuotists.
Yeah.
We like that. That's a nice term.
Yeah.
We can adopt it.
So she was super surprised, and I like, why would you call yourself that?
Right.
It leads... once you're open to God to talk, amazing things can happen.
This is part of the
share the gospel,
provoking the Jewish people to jealousy, using their own Bible and their own holidays.
Yeah, that's great. And we are celebrating, of course, the holidays of God, of the Lord's holidays, and this is one of them. And so on Friday, there's a big gathering, where a lot of the Messianics come together, and I'm going to be there as well.
Right.
And
there's actually a gathering Thursday nights.
Yes.
Here in our building.
Tell me about that.
So the Thursday night gathering starts at 7:30. It goes to almost midnight. Worship and prayer, multi-congregation. We have the blessing of hosting it here in the Celebration Center. I'll be there for a little bit of that time. And then Friday morning, as you mentioned, I believe it's out at the Kfar Baptistim, they call it, which is the Baptist village, is an all-day kind of Shavuot festival of worship, groups and prayer times and intercession together. So both of the gatherings, Thursday night and Friday for Shavuot, are going to be dedicated to the Holy Spirit and unity in the body of Messiah.
Yeah. So what are the typical things that Jewish people do on Shavuot?
Well, what we're doing there is part of the typical thing. So what you want to do is, there are special offerings. It's a very important part of this day. It's another first fruit harvest festival where there's a special offering, and you're going to talk about that a little bit today. Then you're going to want to have a sense of togetherness. Remember, this is a commanded pilgrimage day to Jerusalem. We're going to talk about that from Leviticus 23, Acts chapter 2. the sheaf waving offering. So, Vaco, you provided us today with the barley harvest, and so we're going to wave. This is maybe typical of how we worship the Lord.
Are you going to wave today?
Not today, because today's not the holiday.
That's
but
right.
We have it on stage.
Ready, yep.
We have it ready to go. But on the holiday, you would want to wave it as a worship, almost like a flag. You know, you get some flag wavers and dancers. They love to wave the flags in worship, and this is kind of a way you can do that.
Okay, and what about food?
Well,
very important.
It is, but the Shavuot holiday is the ending of the barley harvest. So we've been harvesting barley since the last harvest festival back at Yom HaBikurim, First Fruits Resurrection Day. So now we're harvesting barley. We've been doing it for 50 days or so, and we also kick off the beginning of the wheat harvest cycle. So we're ending one cycle and we're moving on to the next cycle. Of course, there are 3 harvest festivals of the year. All of them are pilgrimage. One of them is First Fruits. Then you have Shavuot, Feast of Weeks. And at the end of the year, you're going to have Sukkot, Feast of Tabernacles. And so that's a lot of the activity and the food. A lot of times you'll get people that want to make special dairy meals. That's a big thing here in Israel.
Why is dairy, so important for Shavuot?
Why is it so important?
Yeah.
Well, on one hand, it may just be a contrast to Passover, where on Passover, it's the commanded meat that you have to eat, and of course in the Orthodox tradition they separate meat and milk. So this may be more of the milk side.
So it's a dairy holiday.
It's a dairy holiday.
Yeah. Yep. And then also Omer is connected very closely to this holiday, ending the cycle.
It ends it.
Today is day
anymore. 45. 45. So if you're following us on the counting, day 45 today. I'll mention that in the service in just a few minutes as we say the blessing, but we've been counting for 45. Ascension Day is day 40. So we are in the last 10-day segment, and we're 5 days into that last 10-day segment. So if you were a follower of Yeshua at the time of the New Testament, and you were one of the faithful 120, you're waiting in Jerusalem for this last 10 days. Yeshua has ascended, he's gone. Holy Spirit has not come in his fullness yet, and you're waiting in faith. So this is a big faith period of time.
Hey, here's a question for you. Omer is Omer is a measure of counting the barley, for instance.
The size and the weight of the barley.
Yeah. Do you know what those sizes and weights are?
No, tell me about it.
I tell you, well, it's not super clear because it's so long time ago when the temple offerings took place, but they say it's about 1.5 to 1.8 kilos. And in cubits, it's about 3 liters. So the kilos is actually the flour, and it's maybe less in space, but it's a bucket.
Sure.
Basically.
You're talking about after it's been ground?
After it's grounded, it's less, and then you are supposed to bring, if you have a temple, you're supposed to bring both the flour and your waving sheaf.
The wave offering sheaf, yeah.
Sheaf. Did you bring your sheaf?
I have my sheaf.
You have it ready at home?
Well, listen, I know that you actually have a field next to your house that you can glean from.
Exactly.
And that's legal, it's allowed, right?
Yeah, as a foreigner, I have all the privileges. Mm-hmm. You can read from the Bible if you haven't yet. And these are actually from our side yard. Are these barley?
You had a special name for them.
Yeah, so it's a...
You said wheatgrass.
Yeah, or barley grass or
barley
whatever.
Grass.
The wheatgrass would look a little different. You know what the difference in outlooks is? Barley.
Well, we talked about it earlier, and the barley actually continues to grow beyond the kernels.
Yeah.
It has the higher spikes. Yeah.
And these are actually very tasty. Have you ever tried them?
Not straight, no. Probably in a drink or something.
I'm joking.
They do put a wheatgrass in a lot of nutrition drinks these days. But it's not just the diet of special milk diet on Shavuot and the all-night prayers and the gatherings together and the worship and the sheaf offering and the special offering. All of that has been part of this holiday as well. But there's special readings from the Torah and the Haftarah are special readings on today. You know what they are?
And we are doing those. Yeah, there's Book of Ruth.
Book of Ruth.
And Ezekiel.
Right.
And then you've got some other readings too.
We've got Leviticus in one day and Exodus on the other day. Now you might say, I thought Shavuot was only one day. Well, remember, in Jewish traditional cycles, they took a one-day holiday and they added a second day to it. Why did they do that? Because the diaspora Jews might accidentally get the day wrong on their calendar.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to give them a little grace. But secondarily, the Sabbath of the holiday starts when you hear the trumpet at sundown. Remember, we start our holidays at sundown. And so when the trumpet would blast, it could take a while for that trumpet blast to be repeated all throughout Israel and then to get to the borders. And so the border towns would often hear the trumpet blast many hours after the holiday had started, and they didn't want to cheat them on the fullness of their holiday. So they started to celebrate the day for 2 days.
Yeah.
On one day, you have one set of readings. On the second day, you have the other set. So the Haftarah reading number 1 is Ezekiel chapter 1. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to read a little bit of that tonight in the sermon. And the Haftarah reading on day 2 is Ruth. And of course, Ruth has the whole story about the corners of the fields and gleaning and her love relationship with Boaz and how it all happened.
Yeah, if you drive at this time in anywhere almost in Israel, especially the plains, you can see that the harvest is happening.
Right.
Half harvested, half still, or mostly harvested.
If you drive if in Israel in the first harvest, let's go back a couple of months to the first fruits. The rainy season has just finished and everything's very green. Yeah. But when you go drive through Israel right now at this harvest festival of Shavuot, a lot of the country is golden because of the barley,
golden,
the wheat.
Golden Israel. Yeah. Then it's also about the Bikurim, about the first fruits, and I always wonder, like they say, Yeshua is the Bikurim.
Right.
First fruit, and then they say that the first church is also the Bikurim. So would it be proper to say that Yeshua is the Bikur and the church, first church or first congregation, first Kehillah, is Bikurim? What do you think?
Well, they're both singular.
Bikur is singular.
Bikur is singular. So if there was an establishment of a congregation, that would be a first fruit singular. But I think if you're saying collectively the ecclesia, all of the congregations together, the kehilot, could be the bikurim plural.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing. You have this first fruit celebration, and it goes throughout half of the year almost, you could say. Or does it go out through the whole year where you're collecting different kinds of
collecting,
first fruits?
at least on a Gregorian calendar, you start collecting for the first fruits. There's 3 of them. You're already collecting as soon as the rainy season starts to conclude in February. You start collecting because you have to bring it at the resurrection day. That's the first one. Then today, or this holiday of Shavuot, you're going to finish the barley. You're going to start collecting the wheat, and then by the time you get to Sukkot at the end of the holiday season, is the last final harvest of the year, and then there's a couple of months where the ground rests until, and it's good that it rests because we don't get any rain for months and months and months, and so nothing's really going to grow after Sukkot until we get the rainy season back in January.
You're right. We have to start wrapping up here. You know,
so many
we could
things.
speak so long. Yeah, but discipleship is this week again. We had amazing first 2 rounds. First 2 weeks, and this Wednesday at 6:30, join us. Our online hosts, Carl and Amira, will post a link for you, and you can find those in YouTube in Core. The past ones will automatically appear there. And
my wife is going to help teach this week.
Wow!
So if you guys have ever heard me tell a lot of stories about Rebecca, and you want to see her in action, join our discipleship class this Wednesday, 6:30.
Very good. And we are going to go to the service
live
now. See you there.